Want to sharpen your game? Join the DFM Coaching Patreon for exclusive technique breakdowns and mindset training. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Tap Day. My name is David Figueroa Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing already knowing the movie. And this is a phrase that I will tell people on occasion, and sometimes I don't get the chance to break down what I mean by it. But I think the idea in the context of how I use it kind of comes off well enough that I don't actually have to explain it, but I thought I would. So every once in a while I'll roll with someone, and not that I demolish them, but they know that the round didn't go well for them. They know that the round was pretty much in hand for me. I did the things that I wanted to do. I prevented the things that they wanted to do. They weren't able to push the action in territories that they wanted to. They weren't able to get off the submission that they wanted to, or the sweep or transition, whatever. And at the end of the round, sometimes I'll have someone ask me, what could I have done differently? And every once in a while, I can offer a suggestion, something that was a glaring mistake or a glaring hole or a response that didn't make any sense for what we were doing. But there are times when, especially people who have been a little more seasoned, where you didn't do anything wrong. Like you didn't have any glaring holes. You didn't make this blunder of a mistake. You didn't, like in chess terms, you didn't accidentally give up the queen. Like you didn't do any of those things. Sometimes the round just goes the way the round goes because the other person knows what you were going for. So sometimes I'll respond with, you're doing everything the way you're supposed to be doing it. You're on the right path, so I don't want you to deviate. I don't want you to change anything. You just need more time in it. I've already seen the movie, and I know how it goes. So I'm able to respond well to the things that you're doing. So let's say I pass your guard, or I'm passing your guard. And you're framing, and then you're developing this thing, and maybe you get the underhook from my knee cut. Great response. It's what you're supposed to do sometimes. You get this underhook. It's what I'm currently teaching right now. But then I counter with the overhook. I drop my weight. I start pushing instead of completing the knee cut. Maybe I slide the knee across your abdomen and end up in quarter mount. Or maybe I get the overhook and I start going guillotine instead. But your response was correct. Your timing could have even been spot on. But because I've seen the movie so many times, I can quote what's going to happen next. I can tell you that the monster is going to pop out in the background and he's going to speak. He's going to walk into the scene out of the darkness. And it's not going to spook me because I've seen the movie a couple of times or a bunch of times. For you, you haven't seen enough of the movie to understand that, oh, there's a jump scene here. There's a moment where the tension's going to rise really high and then nothing's going to happen. There's times when that happens on the round where I'm in a bad position, but I know that the threat that he's posing doesn't really mean a whole lot from the position or the angle, or because I maybe countered slightly and changed something very minute, but he's not aware of it. So that's what I mean by I've seen the movie. You've been around long enough that you understand the bad positions. They don't necessarily scare you. They don't feel as insurmountable. The tension within those positions aren't as grave because maybe my opponent isn't as skilled as they could be, but that same position is bad if I'm going against a guy who's 50 pounds heavier, or that position might be different if I'm going against a woman who has been training far longer than I have. So then those things change. But in this round, I understand your capabilities. You may or may not quite understand mine, but the bad position isn't the end of the world. So it doesn't carry that emotional toll for me that it might carry you. The tension does mount from time to time, but for the most part, because I've been so seasoned to the positions, I understand what's most likely. I understand that if, let's say, you get me in mount, that if I bring my left forearm across the hips and frame, there's no way that you're going to get high mount on me. And then every time you touch my collar, my head, my arm, I'm bridging to force you to post your arms. I understand that I'm going to be okay. I understand the movie. I understand the end goal here. There's so many possibilities for you when you're in mount to finish the bout. You need my arms in a specific position separated from my rib cage so that you can start to isolate. I know that. So then my responses are to negate the things that you want to do. So these bad positions don't scare me as much. I don't waste as much energy. I don't panic because, again, I've seen the movie. You anticipate the next scene with experience. Your pattern recognition is so much higher when you've been in 10 plus years than with someone who's at the 2-year mark. You understand subtleties. You understand a shift in weight. Sometimes I roll with my eyes closed, and it isn't to show off. I had got the suggestion, I think, a while back, and someone had suggested it's a way of feeling the things that you normally miss when your eyes are open because you're looking at what the hands are doing. So then I started closing my eyes for a while. And I would just roll, and I do it even now. And I can sense your weight shift a lot better. I can picture where your hands are based on where your weight is. So I don't actually have to look at your hands sometimes. So I understand in any given position, there are 2 to 3 likely moves or encounters or next steps. In those next steps, one is really likely above the other. It's so much more likely than the third option that I can focus on that one a lot higher and be cautious of the second. And these aren't things that I think about in the moment. It's just you've done this long enough that it's kind of in your body mechanics. If someone's in mount, you know more than likely they're going to either go collar chokes or they're going to try to attack your hands to separate, or they're going to control your head. Those are the 3 most likely. Depending on who I'm going with, that person might be an armbar specialist. I know they're going to try to attack my arms. Like they're going to try to separate my arms in some way. If I'm going with someone who likes to take the back, they're probably going to start to attack head control, hoping that I switch my hips and go to my side, and then he can start taking the back. If I'm against someone who has immense downward pressure, then I need to be careful of that. So it changes, but there's almost always 2 to 3 likely scenarios, and you just need more time doing the things that you're doing in order to sense them better. And if you're 1 to 2 years in, you probably have a little bit of that. It's just not super honed yet, but you will have started to collect pattern recognition within yourself. You'll know that the white belt likes to do this or that. You know that if you hip escape, they may follow, so you need to frame better. That's pattern recognition on a simpler scale. When I am hip escaping, I understand 2 things are going to happen. They're either going to follow or I'm going to get this underhook. I'm going to go to butterfly guard. Once I get to butterfly guard, we're going to start playing a little different. So I understand the pattern recognition deeper than you do, but it doesn't mean that you don't have that within yourself. So understand that aspect of recognizing the position, the scenes, what might happen next. As you develop this skill, your confidence is going to grow because you understand the mechanics of what may happen next. It's not something that's loud. It's not going to be a loud alarm bell in your head. Maybe early on it might be, but it's going to be just simple recognitions. Someone who in mount allows their top elbow to traverse too far, and now you can take the back. someone who is in bottom half who allows their knee shield to drift too far, and now you can collapse the knee shield. Someone who is in your closed guard but hasn't developed the ability to posture up correctly or maintain posture. So then that's going to be an indicator for you on what you're going to do next. All of this stuff allows you to grow a little bit more confident as you start spotting it, because then it's going to allow you to grow a little bit more successful. You can now develop more of an A, B, A, C game. And what I mean by that is early on, you're very rudimentary. Your first attack is your most formidable, but then they stop it. You will then develop an A to B, A to C attack on the failed attempt, which allows you to get a little deeper into the scene, because now you're more experienced and you understand people start doing this, so then you do this in response. Or you feint that you're going to do one thing because you know what the most common response is. You've seen the movie, and then you start developing an attack right off of that feint. That's where the confidence grows. That's where you start to feel more comfortable with yourself. That's when you start to build a game in any given situation, and you're going to have a situation or a position that you like best. That might be top half. That might be top side. You might be a guard player. That might be half guard. And then you're going to develop things off of that position, and you're going to start seeing elements of the movie with every partner that you roll with, and your confidence is going to grow. White belts respond a certain way. Blue belts respond another, and so on. And you're going to gain some successes with the white belts, and then you're going to gain a little bit of success with the blue belts, and you're going to maybe doubt yourself a little bit, but then you're going to figure something out. And if you're patient and diligent enough to allow yourself to see the movie through, you're going to collect so much data. And Tom Cruise had a movie, Edge of Tomorrow, something tomorrow. It was an alien movie on Earth, I believe, maybe another planet, who knows. And he would wake up every day at the same spot. And then he would live out the day. The day was the same day. And then he would die at some point and then have to relive the day over again. And then he would get a little further. And after he realized what was going on, he got some training, and then his job was to play out the movie as many different times as possible so he knew what was coming. That is, in essence, Jiu-Jitsu. And that is, in essence, what I've seen the movie means. I understand that if my underhook is shallow and not very strong, you're going to overhook and then crush. I made those mistakes at one point. I saw the movie. So then I started getting a deeper underhook. And then I started going maybe deep half. But in my deep half, it wasn't great for me because I was on the smaller end. And if I did this with a larger athlete, they punished me. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go deep half anymore. So let me entangle the legs in a way where my opponent's heel is close to my butt, which I'm going over right now. And then we can start off balancing because their heel isn't where it's supposed to be. And you start experimenting with things. You start applying certain techniques and the way of doing a certain technique. And then that technique, that identity of that technique follows you specifically based on your body type. And then you get further into the movie. You hit that first sweep. And then off of the sweep, maybe they reverse you because your weight was off. So then you reestablish the position from half guard. You reestablish the underhook. You do the sweep again, but this time you're anticipating their movement. So you base harder, you drop the hip better, and you hold them in place. And then you start scrambling into, or not scrambling, but you start moving into a mount, or maybe attacking the back or some other position off of that you like. And that, in essence, is what Jiu-Jitsu is supposed to be. You will have seen the movie in a specific system because you've replayed it against so many different people. You don't feel bad. You don't feel weird. You understand the mistakes you made. You correct the mistakes you made. And then you get further along than everybody else. That is the core of what it means to I've already seen the movie. If you're newer, you're 2 years in, it's going to take you a while to get to the point where you will have seen the movie as many times as I've seen it. I can quote specific speeches. I can quote response lines. I can tell you what the jump scares are. I can tell you where the crescendo is in the movie. I can tell you where there's a fake scare. I can tell you where the love interest says this, that, and whatever. I know the entire movie of a specific system really well. So that's what I mean when I say that. It's going to take time for you, and don't beat yourself up. It's just going to be a while. And eventually you will become a subject matter expert in a specific system of your choosing, and you will do the same thing to everyone else. And eventually you will tell someone who asks you, hey, so what should I do here? And you'll tell them, you're doing everything right. I've just seen the movie. And that's the best answer you can give them. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at dfm.2099 on Instagram or Threads. If you want to take a look at my recorded workshops, I have those on a school program, SKOOL. The link is in the show notes, or you can do a Google search on school, DFM Coaching BJJ. Until next time, thank you so much.